Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom's back and welcome back to the episode of Top Drives. Now, I've been playing this game for more than 6 years. We're going on to 7 years, and throughout that entire time of playing the entire game, I've seen cars come up and go away from the meta. Some cars that were ridiculously strong at certain points in the game have now fallen into obscurity, basically. And in today's video, I want to go through what I think are the top nominees of cars that people in the player base tend to think that, cars have become, redundant, like not as good as they used to be. So in today's episode, I kind of want to talk about Top Drive's biggest depreciations and if they do deserve that title or not. So let's get into it. The car that started off this entire idea for this episode was the Lamborghini Gallardo LP550. Now, recently, as you know, I'm kind of switching my gameplay strategy to, instead of maxing out epics that we're forced to max out for tri-series, I'm maxing out passion projects. And one of my passion projects that has been stuck in my garage for, I want to say, over 3 years now, is the Lamborghini Gallardo LP550, which I believe correctly came during Italian Renaissance. Now, back in its heyday, back in, I believe, the end of 2019, or towards the end, the fourth quarter of 2019, when Italian Renaissance was released, the Lamborghini Gallardo served as one of the strongest epics in the entire game. Back in 2019, 3.7 seconds of a 0 to 60 and 88 handling was your benchmark for what was the highest tier epic, back then also known as RQ26. And when I was looking through my fuse pile, I saw this in my fuse pile, and it was locked, and I've had it locked for 3 years, and I've always told myself, wow, I want to upgrade it because of how good it used to be. The only issue is, with every update that comes forward, it always brings a better car that triumphs and trumps the Lamborghini Gallardo, making it more and more useless with every single update. I mean, think about it this way. It used to be one of the best epics, which was RQ26. In today's age, it would be RQ79. Now, it's only RQ74. It's almost a mid-range epic, if anything. So definitely this was a car that did not withstand the test of time. So this was basically what kicked off this series, and I'm going to be going through a bunch of different cars which I felt were really strong in the past, which may not be that useful in today's meta. So at the bottom, we have a kind of gauge meters, like, whether the car is vulnerable, which means that yes, it isn't as strong as it used to be, but it's still useful. Whether it's endangered, or it's extinct. Usually if a car is extinct, it basically means that you never see it anymore. Nobody ever uses it anymore, and nobody basically uses it in clubs or multiplayer events. And this is only, and this series, well, not series, but this episode is only going to cover cars that were incredibly useful at one point, right? So, because obviously, like, I could just put any Bentley in the series or any Audi in this series, and it would just immediately be extinct. So every car in the series was super meta at one point. So the Gallardo, let's see. I think it's endangered. I don't think it's a car that we never ever see, but definitely you see it less and less. And the main problem about it is that, although it is a decent 74, it's just worse than so many new cars that have come to the game. So for example, in this tier list, you can see that it's worse than the KTM Expo, the Resvani Beast Alpha X, the Saleen S1, the Aston Martin Vanquish, and the Aston Martin Vantage, two epics that have gone down from legendary ranks, right? So why the Lamborghini was once feared was because it used to be this RQ26 Apex Predator. And, it was the best Italian epic in the game, one of the best rear-wheel drive performance style cars in the game, one of the best coupes in the game, all the way back in 2019. Now, though, I would say that it is forgotten because of the saturated competition. There are just so many rear-wheel drive, just epics that handle well. And obviously, like, a lot of S-tier Lamborghinis in the past have now gone down the ranks, and now they've become the new high end or the new benchmark for epics. Think about the Huracan Spider rear-wheel drive, for example, right? So yeah, the Lamborghini Gallardo has really gone down the pecking order. It's just a mid-range epic now, and definitely is a lot less useful than it used to be. So obviously at the times, as you can see, I'm putting it up against drags. If I switch it to twisties, it will lose lose to the Lotuses, which also all used to be legendary. Next car that I want to talk about is the Audi RS7 Sportback. This car is well and truly extinct. It is absolutely terrible, and it's so sad to see how this car has fallen from grace. Back in the day, the Audi RS7 Sportback was one of the absolute best cars in the game. It was the Mitsubishi Evo 8 before the Mitsubishi Evo 8 was even released. It used to be medium ground clearance. It used to have 90 plus MRA. It used to have slightly better handling, and that has taken, and it used to be epic, which meant that it was a lot easier to upgrade. So once feared because of all of those stats, it had 90 plus MRA, it had 85 handling, it was epic, it was medium. Now though, the Audi RS7 Sportback is truly forgotten because it's been literally nerfed everywhere. The handling has been cut by 2 points from 85 stock to 83. It's gone from medium ground clearance to low ground clearance. The MRA has gone down from 90 plus to about 80 plus. And obviously it's gone from epic to legend, which makes it a lot more difficult to upgrade. So it has that legendary upgrade tax. So yeah, the RS7 Sportback, truly one of the worst cars to invest in nowadays. It's truly extinct. It's a very sad sight. It literally went from 100 to 0. Now the next one is the Lotus 340R. This is a car that we don't see anymore with the introduction of the Zenus and of course the Peugeot Maxi going from epic down to ultra rare. The 340R stood as one of the best ultra rares in the game for the longest time, all the way up till last year in 2022. That being said, I don't think it's endangered. I don't think it's extinct. There are going to be times where you will use the Lotus 340R. It's still really good. I mean, yes, it's going to lose to these 64s, but compared to some other 64s like the Lotus Exige 240R, the Alfa Romeo 4C Spider, the Lotus Exige S1, it still holds its own. It's the best car in G-Force indoor karting and slalom if you don't include the top 3 cars at the bottom. So I don't think that it is extinct or endangered. There is still times to use it. It is still one of the best 61s that you can use, but obviously it isn't as good as what it used to be. What it used to be was the best of the best, Blossom Choice. But now you got the Maxi, you got the Zenus E10, you got the Lotus Elise Cup. You don't really need that 340R anymore, which is a little bit weird to say. It's not bad though, and you're still gonna get a lot of use out of it. So the car was once feared because it was an epic killer. It was lightweight and dangerous, but now it's forgotten just because it was just simply pushed down the pecking order. It's basically crumbling at the test of time. Now, moving on to the fourth car that we want to review. Oh, talk about fourth car, Evo 4. That was intentional, by the way. Yeah, this thing is extinct. Absolutely extinct. It's such a shame. It was once feared because it was debated to be among the top 3 ultras and top drives, but now top 3 in my opinion at least. So the Evo 4, the Lotus 340R, I think it was the Charger 3, which were the top 3 in my opinion because of the value that you were getting from all those cars. But obviously now it's forgotten because it was pushed way too far up the epic ranks. Look, I understand that the Evo 4 was too good of an ultra rare and it deserved to go out to epic, but 76, come on. At most it deserved to go up to a 70 maybe, or a 71. A 76 is just way too high. As you can see, compared to other 76 Mitsubishis like the Lancer Evo 10 and the Lancer Evo 9 GSR, it just doesn't hold a candle. It's terrible. The times aren't even close, to be honest, and it's even losing to RQ70s in the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 9 wagon. So yeah, it's a tough one for the Evo 4. One of the best in the past, now one of the worst. Very sad to see. Now, before we get back into the series, if you would like to support me on Patreon, that'll be really useful as well because my revenue has just gone down recently and I really don't know why YouTube is just being weird like that. I make a lot less from each video now, basically. But anyway, just a small little plug on the side. We're going to get back to the series, the Chevrolet El Camino SS454. This car has been in the game since the literal beginning, and it basically was your best dragster for a startup. Also, all the way back in 2017, all the way back in 2018, some of you guys may remember that the El Camino 454 used to even be rare. It used to be easier to upgrade, and I still think that it is relatively useful because it has special niches, like the fact that it's medium ground clearance. It's also a pickup truck. There are not a lot of pickup trucks that are that specialist in drags. I think the next one I can think of is the ultra rare Maloo, right? That's 64 RQ. There's a massive difference. But yeah, the main competition for the El Camino now is the Dodge Charger RT. They are literally in the same pool wherever they go. They're both American. They're both from 1969. They're both rear-wheel drive, and they're both one and only dragsters, also exactly the same RQ. The Charger is just better in every way besides the testable, so that is the issue. That being said though, the El Camino, like I said, is still medium, it's still pickup, it's still the second best option when it comes to RQ40 dragsters. So I don't think that it's going to be extinct, but it definitely isn't what it used to be anymore in the days before the Charger, in the days when it used to be rare. It's great, but definitely has fallen in stocks. Now, moving on to the next car is the Lono Delta HF Integrale. This one is sad, I'll be honest with you. I remember there was a time back in Italian Renaissance, so kind of the same time that Gallardo in like late 2019, where pulling the Lono Delta basically meant that you had the off-road meta on lock. Obviously, there were better off-road tire cars in the game that you could choose at the time, but there weren't many. It was far and few between. The only good ones, honestly, were... oh god, I can't even remember any of them. The Escudo only came in JPT, which was like 2 years later. So yeah, there was a time where the Lono Delta, oh yes, the Lono prize car, right? There was the Lono prize car that was better, but obviously if you didn't win that, the Delta HF was the best off-roader that you could pull. It was just honestly the meta at the time during Italian Renaissance. But once again, it's now kind of getting forgotten because this niche is getting more and more competitive. Look at the amount of new cars that we can see. These are cars that you can unpack, not even win, right? The Hyundai i20 is the better car. The Hyundai Ascent is the better car. The Mitsubishi Lancers, the Peugeot 206s, the Hyundai i20, the Citroen Zaras, everything there. They're all brand new. Most of them coming from APGP and European New Wave. Every single off-road four-wheel drive car that is packable, that comes to the game, always seem to have more than 86 handling, which is what the Lono Delta provides. And every time one of those cars get added to the game, the Lono gets more and more and more irrelevant. Now, I don't think it'll be extinct yet because it is still Italian, and when it comes to that Italian off-road niche, it still is one of the best cars. But it is one thing to think about, that Hutch is changing, the meta is changing, and there are more and more OP, or at least in the past we used to see them as OP, off-roaders coming to the game. Now, moving on to our next car, the Bugatti Chiron Sport. This at one point was the best prize car that you could ever win. It was the cream of the crop. I remember spending 36 hours non-stop competing for this car, and my goodness, it has failed the test of time. I don't think that it's bad. I don't think it will ever be extinct, and I don't think it will ever be endangered, but the fact that the Bugatti Chiron Sport is even in this conversation and in this video speaks for itself. It's not as good as what it used to be. Literally, it was once feared because it was the best prize car to win, but now it's slowly getting forgotten because, like some other meta cars, it's just crippling to the test of time. With the addition of Koenigsegg's and more LMPs and Remax and Hennessy's and, you know, the T16 Pikes Peak and the Lotus Avia, the Chiron just gets worse and worse and worse, right? As you can see here, it loses to all the cars above, bar the Volkswagen IDR Pikes Peak. It loses to the Jesko, the Avia, the F5, the Yamera. It is sad. It is truly, truly sad. The Bugatti Chiron Sport, literally one of the most feared cars in the game at one point, is now fading into obscurity. Now, moving on to the last car that we want to talk about is the Porsche 911 Carrera RSR. This is a very, very special car because it used to haunt me. The reason why I never got the Camaro Z011LE was because I didn't have this. The Porsche 911 Carrera RSR was a pioneer for the epic slick tire niche. It was the only one at one point epic with slick tires that handled incredibly well, and it used to be the meta. I mean, think about it this way. Rewind the clock back to like 2020, 2019, even any time before Great Exhibition, there was no epic that could hit 100 handling. 99 was the benchmark, and it was set by the 911 Carrera RSR 3.0. This was a car that struck fear into so many players because it was light, it handled so well, but the most important thing is that there was nothing like this at the time. So this was the meta, right? It was one of the only non-price slick tire epics with exceptional handling. However, now the RSR is being forgotten because it's becoming a dime a dozen. What has happened to slick tire cars for epics is now happening to four-wheel drive off-roaders with legendaries. They're just becoming a dime a dozen. There are going to be so many of them now, and the competition is going to be oversaturated. So at one point, the 911 Carrera RSR was one of the best, if not the absolute best in the game. But since then, we've seen the addition of the TVR Tuscan race car, the Porsche 911 RSR, the Ford Mustang GTR, the Lotus GT3, etc, etc, etc. And as you can see, with the small pool of cars, which could be much wider if I added more cars like the Jetta and the Mustang GT4, the 911, which used to be one of the best, if not the best, handling epic in the entire game back in 2019, is now one of the worst, and the worst in this comparison. 89 handling, tied with the Tuscan race car, which has more MRA, and every other car in this comparison. The GTR Mustang 90, Lotus Exige V6 92, Skyline GTR LM 91, 911 RSR 3.8 92. The list goes on. So the 911 Carrera RSR, one of the best epics in the game in the past, has now fallen below the endangered line in my opinion, and it might be extinct soon if more and more slick tire epics get added to the game. I really don't see the RSR anymore, because even within that own German niche, you already have other slick tire Porsches that are replacing its place. So anyway guys, that's going to be it for today. Those are some of the top cars which I felt were the meta in top drives that have now gone down in value. Let me know down in the comments below if you even forgot that some of these cars existed. Things like the Carrera RSR, for example, is a car that I have not used in years now, and it's really sad, honestly. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was something new, something different. And anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. I'm gonna stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight all night, cruise to Jacksonville.